The Dodge Ram 1500. Just don't call it a Dodge this year. They want it known as just the Ram 1500. Some genius in marketing figured out that it wasn't a Dodge anymore. It's simply the Ram. It's a brand unto itself. It's always been a Dodge to me. They got a place in my heart. Personally, I own a couple of these vehicles. I've owned a few of them over the years. They've been tough, they've been reliable. It's still the same old truck. Bigger, better, more powerful, way longer. Good luck trying to park this sucker anywhere. The guy who buys this truck today, though, this is an expensive piece. This is the full-on Laramie model. It's got every convenience and accoutrement I can think of. Some of the standard features on this truck, unbelievable. Heated steering wheel, gotta love that. Heated and air-conditioned seats. Center console, a bit of a waste of space, but hey, it keeps your wife from sitting up right beside you. She can sit on the other side. Your hound can sit right here. A few of the other neat features on this thing, trash control. Fortunately, hold that button down, it does come off. Automatic transfer case, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive high lock, and then low range with a neutral button there so you can tow it or push it around after you've blown it up.
Under the hood is Chrysler's 5.7 litre Hemi V8 engine, which in this particular truck cranks out 390 horsepower and about the same amount of torque. It's gutsy, it's got tons of power, and to be honest, for a factory exhaust system, it sounds bloody fantastic.
Dodge has finally seen the light and integrated a trailer brake controller into this thing. If you're making the payments on this thing, you probably can't afford a trailer to tow behind it. You're probably living in one.
It's perhaps best described as a Texas Cadillac, if anything. Of course, on the outside, as any self-respecting Texan would, you've got big chrome mirrors, big bold chrome grille and bumpers, and of course, that requisite for many pickup owners, dual exhaust.
One of the features of the truck now, looking for fuel economy, they've come out with a front axle disconnect system in it that's automatic. It's also got an eco mode in the motor that'll shut off 4 cylinders. If you're driving something this big and you actually see the eco light come on the dash, you're holding up traffic. Get moving. The fit and finish, first rate. You can hear it doesn't squeak, doesn't do anything. Doesn't matter how hard we punish this thing, how fast we take her into corners. The Dodge just keeps wanting more and more and more. With 390 horsepower, it comes on fast. Even in the truck as much bulk as this thing, it actually seems to get up and dance pretty good. I haven't even bothered with low range in the transfer case. There's no point. This thing will blow all 4 tires off it in high range without even touching more than a 1/4 inch of pedal on this kind of track surface. But 10 years from now, when some redneck gets a hold of this truck, he'll probably put a 5 or a 7-inch lift kit in it, big set of mud tires. None of that'll matter anymore, and that's going to be the guy that's going to beat the hell out of this thing off-road. For right now, the guy who's bought this thing today, the payments are just too much to be out pounding the hell out of it. Fortunately, this one ain't mine. I really don't care. Time to catch some air. Boom. Now, one thing about this truck, is this still a real working man's truck? It's got the optional ram box in the back. Pretty much all I see is American gun nuts hiding their rifles in those things. Fortunately, they can hide their handguns up here in what they call a map pocket. A couple of beer holders down on the side here so the cops can't see what you're drinking. You can leave your coffee here, that's what they'd be able to see. It'll work. So it's still an old school Dodge in some respects. So would you buy a truck like this? If you're the kind of guy running a construction company, you might try and buy a truck like this. Pretty good one to show off in. All the features you could ever want, satellite nav in it. A box in the back, you pretty much don't have to worry about hauling your neighbor's couch in. It just won't fit. I don't even think it'll fit my 4-wheeler. I wouldn't even bother trying. Next time I go off-road, I think I'll just take my 4-wheeler. It's less abusive than this thing. It doesn't hold as many beers though.
Now what's interesting here is, despite the fact that we're on a fairly bumpy course, and we've been driving this thing in different kinds of vehicles, namely crossover utilities, which of course are car-based, the Ram feels surprisingly civilized. It actually doesn't bounce around as much as traditional pickups do, and I think Dodge has done a wonderful, wonderful job on the rear suspension. I mean, yes, it compromises a payload ultimately, but having the coil springs on that solid axle instead of the old cart-type leaf springs means that it just doesn't bounce around as much as the old truck did. And I think for a lot of people that's probably a good thing. But if there is one drawback about modern pickups and luxury ones, is they're not cheap. By the time you've added on a few options and you've got this thing with the top of the line sound system and navigation, you're looking at close to $60,000 for a pickup truck, that's an awful lot of money. Mind you, if you buy a stripper version, you can still usually get into one of those for less than 20 large.
Overall, it's a fun off-road truck. It's a great way to get around off-road. I just wish they had a suspension option that was a little bit stiffer. Just made it a little more reasonable off-road. They've given up too much to give it a nice, smooth on-road ride to make it any good at speed off-road. So next time, Dodge, when you give me one of these, a little stiffer suspension, please, and some studded tires. This thing would be a lot more fun on the ice. But as it is, I haven't been able to break it. And I've spent hours beating on this thing today. And I think when I'm done my testing today, I'm probably going to drive this one home tonight and beat it some more.